Okay, I'm gonna open a bottle. This is the bottle.
Okay.
And
That's a
this
bottle.
is the bottle opener.
Who's that?
Who could that be?
Who's that? Who's that little distinguished gentleman?
Who's that saucy lady? It works. It works.
Great.
So I was at a wedding last week for one of my best friends, and he got presents for like all his friends for some reason. It was his wedding; he didn't have to do that, and he got all bottle openers in the shapes of our faces, and that was mine. And apparently, mine was the best one. I'm a little confused because what?
Well, I don't know where this is going.
Well,
why are you confused?
there's two traits about me that I have known about myself for as long as I've been alive. Number one is I have blonde hair.
Oh, I was about to say, the brunette was interesting.
And number two, which is hard to tell, you can't see this either, right? I have blue eyes.
Oh.
But well, I like
there you go.
That whoever was printing this was like, I got a lot of brown, dude.
She's got a lot of brown. Okay, want me to throw this batch out when I'm done? No. We're not going to throw that out.
Keep it. That one's for you, you know? But the rest of it's like really fucking good. It really does look like me.
Yeah, it does.
Got my metal neck perfectly. See that?
Perfect. Yeah. How it flares out.
I just like, you know, the body isn't real. That's robot. But I just like pull my head up and it's
pull it off.
Yeah.
And you just open bottles.
Yeah.
The problem is they have to be very big bottles for you to do it yourself.
Well, you know, I have a drinking problem. And then I put the head back on the body. And then off the town I go, you know.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Spark Adventures. My name is Corey, and with me is Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
How much are you keeping in?
I'm going to keep a lot of that in, honestly. It's pretty good. Okay. I'm going to keep a good bit of that in. So John's not with us. I can't remember why John's not with us, though. But
let's come up with a reason. We can come up with it.
I mean, he was with us last week, and there was a horse race. So it cannot be horse related because that has not been a problem for him.
Was that where I was?
Were you involved with the horse races? Were you a jockey?
Legally, I'm not allowed to answer that question.
Oh, there you go.
What does John like to do?
John likes music and movies.
Like producing members of the Marvel universe in order to kill them.
Specifically rich, powerful people like Magneto and Lex Luthor. Those are the two people he's seduced. Kingpin?
Kingpin.
Yeah. He enjoys the arts, I'm sure.
Wouldn't they be beautiful children, John and the Kingpin?
Yeah.
Beautiful, criminally insane children.
I feel like John wouldn't be as disloyal as Vanessa is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know nothing of this character except that they met. They had a nice little romance story in Daredevil, and then John was saying that they're in couples counseling.
You said that you don't think John would be disloyal, but also John would try to kill him.
Well, no, that's the problem. Is it's not so much like loyalty only matters to John if he's approaching the relationship with sincerity. When he approached Magneto and Lex Luthor, it was for the express purpose of killing Aquaman and Wolverine.
I think that he came to the Magneto thing with a little bit of like sincerity. I think he
does really like Magneto.
Really likes Magneto. I think he really just wanted to get married to Magneto. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so this is kind of a follow-up to last week. So you were not here. John and I did a first for Smart Adventures where we did a tier system. We took a bunch of Batman villains and we basically ranked them depending on how John viewed them in level of importance or effectiveness or cool factor. I'm not exactly sure what some of John's reasoning were behind some of them, and we'll follow up on that next week, I'm sure.
Marriageability.
bachelor status.
Yeah.
So, because you and John are predominantly more Marvel-based people, especially Spider-Man-based, you're very familiar with having a large rogue gallery. Spider-Man has a huge rogue gallery.
I am. I
You
have
are.
a lot of people that hate me.
There you go. So, so what we're like, simple tier system. You've seen them around. We're just going to kind of go through them. I'm here to act as kind of a facilitator for you. If you have any questions about certain villains, if you're not familiar with them, I'll be happy to fill in some of the blank spaces for you.
I have a question right off the bat.
Yes.
It's Batman, right? We're doing Batman.
Yes, we are doing Batman.
Okay, so how far down the tier list did you go? So I'm writing them down here, and I've written down S, A, B, C, D, E, F. I don't know if we'll go down that far.
Coincidentally enough, we have a tier system.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Get the fuck over to YouTube.
So I exported John's results and sent those over to him. I did this myself, and I have my results already exported. So level of consistency, making sure we're covering the same people. We'll do it this way through. So this is on the tiermaker.com website. Somebody already made this main Batman villains. I will tell you, I did notice a problem in this list. Mr. Freeze is not included, so we will we'll add him next week when we talk about the results of ours combined.
Okay.
So yeah, we have several villains here.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
I'm writing them down. Do you want me to write them down, or are you just going to do it like this?
Well, I'm going to do it like this, and I'm going to export the results and send you the image.
Well, if I write them down.
So if you want to write them down, yeah, you go ahead and write them down. That's totally fine.
Yeah. A big writer.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I will tell you that John had a couple of questions about the tier list before we get started. For one, he's like, what does S stand for?
Special.
See, I didn't know that. I'm not a video game person. I only ever see S tier when it comes to Capcom video games.
Yeah, it's normally like in Japan, they came up with that where like S rank is like, it's normally like super or special. I think it's super rank really, but super or special is pretty like, or sausage rank.
Sausage. There you go.
Because sausage is like gotta be up there, right?
It has to be. The other question that John had was, what happened to E?
Oh yeah, I have an E on mine. What happened to what?
I'm going to say that is the American education system.
It is not
because when we get graded in school, your top grade is an A, and it goes B, C, D, and then it skips E for whatever reason. It goes straight to F.
Yeah, we never got an E.
You don't do letter grades.
I got a bunch of D's. I don't think I ever got I never got an F.
Yeah, so in America, we just skip E when it comes into the alphabet in regards to grading.
Americans do E's.
So, if that's stated, like I said, this runs the gamut. You have big names here. You have not so big names here. You have some people you may not be familiar with. Again, that's kind of why I'm here, is help fill in the gaps.
Okay.
And I would like to do the inverse of this someday. I would love for you and John to walk me through a tier ranking of Spider-Man villains.
We should, yeah.
I think that would be wild.
But then you're just going to put the big wheel on S. We're all going to put big wheel on S tier.
Big wheel on S, yeah. So speaking of putting our villains in special little ranking slots, our very first one is Man-Bat. So Dylan, how familiar are you with Man-Bat?
I want to guess that Man-Bat is a bat, but is also a man.
Yes. You are very correct. He's like Batman, but inverse.
Yeah. I have a man on the bottom.
Okay. So the equivalent to Man-Bat in Spider-Man world is Lizard. So Man-Bat is a scientist doing some experimentation, went awry, turns into basically a werebat.
Okay.
So he has enhanced strength. He can fly. He has some sonar abilities. Where from S to F would you put Man-Bat?
When you say it's equivalent to Lizard,
yes.
Do you mean that stylistically? Or do you mean that like story-wise?
So it is he is a tragic character, like a Dr. Kirk Connors. I will also say that he has had moments of good as well. He has been a member of the Justice League Dark. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, he is a stylistic comparison in that brilliant scientist experimenting with animal DNA gone awry turns into a monstrosity.
What does he have 2 arms?
Yes, he has 2 arms because he needs them for the wings to flap.
No, in his human form.
Yes.
Okay. What does he just have like bat wings and sonar and shit? What does he do?
I mean, yeah, he goes into a feral state. He doesn't retain his humanity when he's in bat form, essentially. So he basically is a wild monster animal man.
I'm gonna say, I mean, honestly, it just sounds like kind of like a C to me.
Okay.
Like not terrible, but also like you wouldn't read a comic go, fucking Man Bat's in this one. I gotta buy it, you know. You'd be like, I guess.
Well, I will tell you, he did have his own series. He did have his own series a few years ago. There was a Man Bat solo.
Everybody's had their own series.
Yeah, right. All right. Next up is a character I'm not sure if you're going to be familiar with. Also, Killer Moth.
What does he do?
So Killer Moth was originally created in the 50s to be a pastiche of Batman. He is also a man who has created a lot of technology to aid him in his nighttime adventures. A lot of gadgets. He can fly. He has little like grapple guns and stuff. But ultimately, he is a villain instead of Batman. Everything he has is a moth motif. I would tell you he's kind of seen as a jobber character that is made fun, is kind of there to be the butt of the joke more often than not. Like there's a Batgirl story from the 1970s, I believe, where Barbara Gordon defeats him with a shoe.
Okay, well, there's a story in the 90s where Mary Jane Watson beats the chameleon with a baseball bat.
I honestly would say that Killer Moth is an equivalent to Shocker, and that he's kind of frequently portrayed as a down on his luck kind of guy, kind of desperate.
That's a shame, man. If we were in charge, I would put Shocker, like I would reach the stock of Shocker. We call him the stalker, not the stalker. Stock is in stock. All right,
he's putting stuff on shelves.
Okay, I meant like the stock market, but
no, this is my version of the stalker. Is he worked at a grocery store at night?
Okay, well, we'll editorially we'll
workshop it.
Oh, we will a lot. John will be like, guys, stop talking about the stalker. I'm like, no. Does he stalk things or is he stalks? It's important. I mean, what do we think? D probably.
It's your list. You tell me.
Can I move stuff around later? Like if I hear somebody,
yeah, of course. Yeah, you have total freedom to do that. This is your list.
Let's put him on D for now.
D for now. Okay.
Killer Moth.
Killer Moth.
Is there such a thing?
No.
It's a shame.
But I mean, he looks kind of cool.
Well, so does the Shocker.
There you go.
So does the Stalker. He looks like the stock market. This is a big line going up or down.
Yeah, we just changed his costume so the quilt marks are like in directions instead of just like crisscross.
That's how you know when the stock market's doing really good or really bad. You see him and you're like, oh shit, dude. Like when he's like
a turn.
Whenever he walks through town, loads of businessmen jump out of the 13th.
Okay, next up we have somebody you should be a little more familiar with. He's more of a recognizable name, Killer Croc.
Okay, he's kind of lizardy.
Yep. His is more of the result of a skin condition he had as a child that further mutated.
Condition that turns him into a crocodile.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
You know, skin condition that makes your snout like.
That was a mutation, aspect of it.
That's
But
good.
they've undone that. He looks less like a crocodile now.
He shouldn't. He should look like a crocodile.
Yeah.
He's not.
Well, I think it's more of like the Killer Croc kind of had that Beast thing going on, where for some reason they started changing how he looked. So like Beast went from like regular dude with big hands and feet to furry blue ape man to cat back to furry blue ape man.
No, he
Killer Croc is kind of
He went the monkey after cat.
Yes.
Nobody monkey.
Killer Croc kind of went from that to like kind of a big guy with like scales to like a monsterish guy with scales to a monstrous guy with a crocodile snout and a tail to now back to looking like a big monstrous guy with scales.
What? How did he lose a tail?
Editorial mandate, I'm sure.
It's probably in the last place he looked.
Yep, right behind him.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So yeah, Croc is durable, super strong, bit of a cannibal, tends to eat people.
Listen, I'm not gonna knock him for that.
No.
We all get hungry.
Had one of the more memorable parts of Batman Arkham Asylum,
where he lost his tail.
Yep.
Really? Is that what happened?
No, that's not what happened in Arkham Asylum. He didn't have a tail in Arkham Asylum.
I'm not gonna check. You just make it up.
Yep.
I'm gonna say I do know him. I'm familiar with him, but not. He's like. This is probably the same with you and like Spider-Man, because like Spider-Man, there's like the guys marquee names, and then there's like the upper mid Carters. This is pretty much what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're ranking them.
Yeah.
So like he's. I wouldn't have said Killer Croc is an upper mid Carter, but he's a mid Carter. I would if that's your criteria, I would say probably like a B.
Okay.
Like I know him. I'm sure.
Now again, Yeah. Now again, this is your list, so you can pick and choose and do whatever you want with it.
One thing I like about this is we have in a row had two characters that are A, self-proclaimed killers, and B, animals.
Yep, we have. We're gonna break away from that real quick because our very next one is the Demon's Head, Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, we talked about how to pronounce his name before.
Ra's al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I say Ra's al Ghul because I don't read the book. But you say
that's okay.
You do read the book.
I've heard Ra's al Ghul many times.
Yeah, but that's the voices in your head, Corey.
That's the voices in my head. Mm. Much like Randy Orton, I hear voices in my head.
Mm-hmm. And they're talking about Batman.
Yeah, they are. Well, I'm okay with it because I like Batman, so it's like it's just nice to have someone to talk to every now and then.
And you know what? Batman likes you.
That's good. I like that Batman likes me.
And he doesn't like anybody.
No, not notoriously not his legion of orphans that he's adopted.
He's right, and you would think they'd be a little grateful, but no.
No.
Complaining, someone died. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, they might be on the list later on. But yeah, what we know about Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, head of a centuries-old League of Assassins. They are responsible for the decline of many civilizations. Bit of an eco-terrorist. Eternal. He's been killed and resurrected multiple times over the years. Played by
Liam
Neeson in Batman Begins. And
the actor.
There you go.
You know what I mean? You got to support the team.
So that being said, is that going to raise or lower his stock for you in this tier list?
Before we got to the Liam Neeson thing, I'm going to tell you what my ranking was going to be.
Okay.
It was going to be an A.
Okay.
So like not like Stone Cold Steve Austin, but you're like, Chris Jericho, like
sure.
On the way there. I don't listen. It would be rude of me to just take that bias and go Liam Neeson bumps it up to an S, because I don't think he is an S. I think he's a pretty big, like, pivotal Batman villain. I don't know if he's S tier, frankly.
Okay. And
I don't think Liam Neeson playing him in one film would also elevate that entire character up to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although that is you got to support the team. That is that's weighing very heavily in my mind. That he's on the cusp. I will say he's on the cusp because of Liam Neeson. Let's put it that way. Because like, how many other actors do we have? Fucking nobody. You know what I mean? We're a very small country.
Yeah.
There's like 20 people in this whole country.
Very small country.
Yeah, there were 6 people in my school, in my class, whenever I was growing up. 6 people in the whole class.
So that's not a lot of people.
No, it's not. And some of them died, I guess. I haven't heard from them. I assume they died. And they probably assumed I died, so it evens out.
That's only fair.
Anyway, is it? Anyway, I'm gonna stick with A, but he's on the. How do you spell this guy's name?
RA'S.
Okay.
Space AL. Space GHUL.
Okay. I like how it's just a jumble of letters and you go, yeah, that's a real name. Like,
Yep.
No.
All right.
DC do that a lot. I've noticed that. Just like jumble up letters and go, that's the guy's name. Like, fuck
like
you.
Mr. Well, I mean, the most literal one is Mr. Mixelpick.
Right. You have no idea how many times I've seen that written down, and then I've heard somebody say it. I'm like, okay, that's how you say it. And then read it again. I'm like, what the fuck? It's not what? That's, you know.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly. Next up, a character whose name isn't that complicated is Bane.
He's pretty good.
Do you know Bane?
I do know Bane. Best friend.
We did the whole. Yeah, we had a 2-episode review of, or just not even a review, just an explanation of the storyline Nightfall. Bane played a big part in that. We talked about Bane very recently in an episode that won't come out because it never got recorded. Apparently,
that might be next week.
Who knows? But yeah, you're familiar with Bane.
Yes. Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at remembering actors.
Jeep Swinson, if you are watching Batman and Robin.
Which nobody is.
Nobody is.
Nobody is.
Even as a wrestling fan, that's such a deep cut. Like 95% of people would have no idea what the fuck I just said.
That's the thing, because we're all wrestler fans, right? We're all comic book fans. If you told me the wrestler was going to play Bane, I'd be like, oh, great. And then they say the name of the guy, and you're like,
who the fuck is that?
Yeah. Is he a wrestler? Did you just make that up? You know? I think they made that up. That's bullshit, you know? But in that
I think he was in WCCW back in the 80s.
When did that, was it 97?
97, yeah. Batman and Robin.
You telling me you couldn't find a big fucking jacked up guy to play that guy in 97?
I mean, they did. His name was Jeep Swinson.
No, I mean a better one. But then the problem would have been, like, if it was a better guy, they would have got him on set, and then they'd be like, hey, you have to go over there and, like, say nothing, and you're going to be in, like, 4 scenes, and the guy would have been like, that doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for me.
Doesn't work for me, brother. Brother.
Okay, so Bane, great character. The problem I have with Bane, from what I understand of Bane, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, which I very frequently am.
Okay.
In the show, in my life, in my job as a police officer, frequently wrong all the time. Bad mistakes made, a lot. I mean, it's good when you're a police officer. Nobody notices. You get away with it. But in the show, people will critique me for being wrong. So I wanted to double check. But I feel like Bane was a big character for a long time. But like recently, and I say recently, and I'm going to guess like in the last 5-10 years, he's kind of like fallen off. He hasn't really been like the big fucking guy. I know you were telling me about like the Gail Simone stuff where like she tried to make him a bit more human, which as much as I love Gail Simone, I don't think you need to do that with Bane. I feel like he should just be some guys can just be a big motherfucker and that can be their job. That's fine. And Bane was really good at being big and smart and drinking poison. That could be you don't have to get complicated.
Yeah. To kind of fill you in a little bit, there was the the Gail Simone thing was like really playing up his addiction to Venom, and like so that she was writing him as kind of a recovering addict, while focusing on the fact that Bane is already just incredibly strong and very brilliant. But no, Bane had his own miniseries called Conquest that wasn't that long ago. That was by the creative team that invented him, so it was kind of a continuation of his story. And also, he killed Alfred, so he's had some lasting impact.
Oh, he killed an old man. Congratulations! Wow,
that's more than like Joker. I mean, Joker hasn't killed Alfred. Riddler hasn't killed Alfred. And Alfred's been dead for 5 years now. That's kind of like a death that oddly is stuck.
I'm going to counter by saying the Joker has probably killed plenty of other old men.
Yeah, yes. But not Bruce's old man.
Who fucking cares?
Oh, Bruce but no, Bane is Bane. They always bring him back in with his kind of... He kind of has that archangel problem where it's like the one storyline people want to run with Bane is Bane wants to control Gotham City, and he makes some really big strategic moves to make it happen. Right.
So, like, if you're thinking about that, you could say it's a one-trick pony, but also the one thing you could say about those tricks is that a lot of the time, for a long period of time, those tricks seem to work out okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he comes in with a plan. He doesn't just go, I'm gonna run Gotham and then, try to be the mayor or whatever. Like he pulled some stuff out. So with that in mind, I feel like he's always been like since his introduction, he's always been kind of a big character. I would say A tier.
A tier? Okay.
Yes. Not like bam bam, this is your boy, but like if he was to rise up, you wouldn't be that surprised. But yeah, it's Bane. It's pretty fucking kick ass, right?
Yeah, true. All right, next up we have Catwoman.
Okay, what does she do? Who is Catwoman?
Well, I mean, Catwoman is a burglar. She is one of the very few characters who is aware that Batman is Bruce Wayne. They were almost married very recently. She's one of 3 characters that are on here that's a little kind of iffy, just because Catwoman is more associated with being an anti-hero now. Like the Black Cat. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So Catwoman has been firmly anti-hero since the 90s. That hasn't not really shifted or changed.
Okay.
So she has her own title right now, a very long-running title. Usually the focus on that is very women empowerment, typically. Catwoman stands up for abused women, sex workers, that sort of thing.
I'm with her sister.
There you go. But yeah, so Catwoman is next up. Where would you rank her on the Batman scale of villains?
Michelle Pfeiffer. Incredible.
Yep, Michelle Pfeiffer. Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Michelle Pfeiffer out of the way, I think.
Eartha Kitt.
Can you straight away from the Michelle Pfeiffer thing here? I don't know why you're doing that. She was the best Catwoman, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yes.
I will say I will give you that. I will say that Zoe Kravitz in the Batman was the most comic-like Catwoman.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Therefore, it doesn't.
Well, you also don't read. Yeah, you also don't read Batman, so. Right. So that comparison probably doesn't mean too much to you. If I say like, oh yeah, Zoe Kravitz is probably the most comic accurate Catwoman, you're like, I don't really read it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer, cool as hell. She's a whip. Ate a bird.
Ate a bird.
Yeah.
Which she said she regretted doing.
Listen.
She regretted putting that live bird.
Bad. We've all regretted eating stuff.
Yep.
At some point in your lives. If we're going on the basis of like, because I think a big part of this is like how much I know about this character.
Yes.
You know what I mean, I think that's a pop. If we're ranking this like wrestlers, like upper mid card or whatever, everybody knows Steve Austin. Some people know Jericho. Not a whole lot of people know Midian, right? We can grade it like that. I think everybody knows Catwoman, but in the same level as Bane, in that like she's never like bam bam. She's there. You'll see her in stories, but also like you said, she's not really a villain per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be a crime to put her S tier because as a villain, she's not really a villain, but
exactly
she's there in like popularity, but not as strictly as a villainous character. So I'm gonna have to put her in A tier again.
Okay.
A tier is very, very busy.
So far.
Yeah. I'm gonna be very kind. I bet John was like really fucking critical about it. Like everybody's fucking F tier. And I'm like, no, everybody can be A tier. Everybody has a great time except for Killer Moth, who I had to look down to check.
That he's still there. All right. Well, so here's the character that I'm not sure how familiar you are with him, aside from his recent, and by recent I mean 10 years ago, portrayal in the Suicide Squad by Will Smith. It is Deadshot, the mercenary.
Deadshot. I haven't seen.
Yes.
Suicide Squad.
So Deadshot is most well known for being a member of the Suicide Squad. He is a mercenary. His gimmick is he doesn't miss. So he is an expert marksman, usually preferring to use guns that are mounted to his wrists. And specifically, he has a death wish. So he is kind of like one of the more willing members of the Suicide Squad. He only really cares about his kid and keeping her safe, and doesn't really give a shit if he lives or dies. So he's perfect for Suicide Squad.
Wait a minute. He wants his kid to be safe, but he also wants to die.
Yeah.
Therefore, not being able to look after his kid.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, he's a piece of shit hypocrite. You know, like that's the thing. I mean, Suicide Squad are not angels. Even though like he has that redeeming quality of like, oh, he wants to be a good dad. He wants to be a good dad, and the like money gets sent to the kid, and wants nothing for. He does not want this kid to have anything to do with him because he realizes what a piece of shit he is.
Is it the Elon Musk school of being a father?
Probably. He didn't. Now, Deadshot did not name his daughter a series of gibberish, so you know I think we're fine there.
Deadshot did not inherit a diamond mine.
He did not. I thought it was Emerald.
I don't fucking know. I'm not in the club, Corey.
Okay. So anyway, yes.
I just figured out you're in the Elon Musk fan club. I got you.
I am.
Laid a trap for you.
There it is.
I don't care about Deadshot.
Okay.
I don't know him. I don't know.
Sure.
I want to say either C or D because I don't fucking care. You say he's an expert marksman. I assume that means something akin to Bullseye. But Bullseye's awesome. I love Bullseye.
He's very, very similar to Bullseye.
Another Irishman.
There you go.
Will Smith, is he Irish? He probably pretends he is.
Probably.
Everybody in America pretends they're Irish. Corey, you Irish?
Especially this time of year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pale with red hair and freckles. It kind of is hard to avoid it. And my last name is what it is, so it's kind of...
That's true. You're more Irish
than... It's pretty abundant.
I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Ranking,
I'm not one of those weirdos who claim it, though.
Can we do a list where we're ranking who's more Irish? It's just American people, and then you're on the list.
Yeah.
I would put you ahead of Will Smith. Like way ahead.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I think you might be, because like you got a lot of stuff, like you said, there's a lot going on in your favor.
Yeah.
I put you an 8 tier in that list, I would say.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Will Smith, speaking of tiers, did you between C or D, where are you putting Deadshot?
Well, what I was about to say was I would have put Will Smith in like D tier of being Irish for that fact, and for no other reason at all. Deadshot or whatever his name is going to D tier. Deadshot
going right beside Killer Moth.
I already forgotten his fucking name. Who cares?
Deadshot.
He's not cool like Bullseye is. Bullseye's cool. And Bullseye had a lady Bullseye. Does Deadshot have lady Deadshot? I forgot his name when they said his name.
Well, so here's a character that we spent a little bit of time arguing about not that long ago. He is the inspiration of Deadpool. The next on this is Deathstroke the Terminator.
Okay, you'll not find this at all surprising. I thought Deadshot was that guy.
Deathstroke the Terminator?
Said more about him, and I'm like, oh, it's a different guy. So that
happens.
About anything.
It happens. Trust me, it happens.
Well, I guess we were arguing a little bit.
Yeah, it was Deathstroke versus Storm.
That reminds me. I wanted to argue with this again because I just read an article where, like, recently in the comics they have like upgraded Storm to like super Omega level mutant.
Oh my God! really? We're making
so
Super Omega is now a thing?
She's like beyond Omega because she got the powers of like some god or whatever. So I'm like,
Eternity.
I was right. That. Storm totally would have beat him.
All right. Well, we'll revisit that on another episode because we need John here too, because John voted for Deathstroke as well.
Well, he fucked up.
So Deathstroke the Terminator, expert marksman, expert hand-to-hand combatant, the most lethal man in DC Comics, portrayed by Ron Perlman. Yeah. Oh yeah, Deathstroke is like the most lethal. Yeah, he's the top tier assassin in DC. Has
he killed the most people ever?
He has had I probably would say that would probably go to Lobo, because Lobo does that shit intergalactically. But Deathstroke was just recently the big bad in a big crossover event they had.
Okay.
Like all of the DC world was involved in this crossover, and Deathstroke was the big bad.
Okay. He killed lots of people?
I think he did, yeah. I know that it looked like he was going to kill Beast Boy, but I think they pulled some bullshit, because I don't think they would never allow a Teen Titan to get killed like that.
He did kill Beast Boy.
A major Teen Titan.
Died that the Beast Boy died, but a new clone of Beast Boy came in. But the Beast Boy clone only had the memories of the old Beast Boy from like 1986 onwards, or after, before that.
You know what's funny about that? So Beast in the comics had pulled his own eyeball out because he had a small Russian spy running around inside of him. And he refused to be resurrected because it would mean that all of his schemes would get exposed to the Quiet Council. When Deathstroke seemingly killed Beast Boy, he just blew out his eyeball. So both of them were walking around without one eye. So that's really funny that you made that comparison.
I made the comparison because they're both called Beast. Can I?
Yeah. One's green and one's blue.
I don't want to derail the. You cut this bit out if you want.
That might be too much effort, but okay.
Beast had a miniature Russian spy running around inside him.
Yes.
Okay. Could you see where like a man might get a little bit confused about the sentence I just said?
Absolutely. But we're not normal men. We read comic books.
We don't have to go into it too much. I just want to make it known. What the fuck? Put that down in the books for today. That at 36 minutes into the show, I said, "What the fuck?"
Oh boy, 36 minutes in. We got a lot more people to cover.
Dash shot. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna say B tier.
B tier. Okay.
Like, he's pretty good. I don't think he's as good as Deadpool, but like, put that on the record as well.
Okay.
I said that Deadpool's cool as hell. That shot. Oh, he killed loads of people. Whatever. I kill loads of people. Doesn't matter. You know. I don't think he's as well known or as interesting as like a lot of the other guys we're talking about. So I would say he's a big deal, but like not like a huge deal. So I think he's pretty fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Next up is a character you should be a little more familiar with. It's the Scarecrow.
Okay. Cillian Murphy, another Irish guy. Oh my God,
another Irish guy.
He's knocking it out of the park today. Killing it.
Christopher Nolan loves him some Irishmen.
He makes people scary, or whatever. He's got pumpkin face. I know everything about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Scarecrow as a character. I do. I really do. I don't know how like of a big of a deal he is. I know they, obviously they tried to put him in like all the Batmans for some reason. I like him though. I do like him, and not because of Cillian Murphy. Although I do like Cillian Murphy. I'm gonna do something controversial here.
Okay.
I'm gonna move Deathshot to C tier and put Scarecrow in B tier.
So Deathstroke.
Whatever's fucking
C tier.
Yeah.
And then Scarecrow to B tier. Okay.
Yep. I'm happy with that. I like the Scarecrow. I don't think he's like an upper mid Carter, but he's again on the cusp. He could get in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's European champion, but he's like William Regal.
Yeah, European William.
But if he was Intercontinental Champion, you wouldn't go, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd buy it.
Is he D'Lo Brown walking around with both belts?
Maybe.
Maybe.
He could wobble his head like that. So
you're looking at the real deal now.
And all the other stuff he did.
Yeah.
Little draws. Yeah. Put that bit out.
Fuck. All right, next up, we got Firefly. Are you familiar with Firefly?
F.
So, real quick, just to give you some context, Firefly is an arsonist pyromaniac. He was supposed to be the big bad of the Batgirl movie, and he was going to be played by Brendan Fraser before Warner Brothers Discovery dumped that whole movie after they finished making it as a tax write-off, aka to give Tony Khan that sweet TV deal money.
Well, he needed it.
He did. So we will never get to see Brendan Fraser as Firefly because of that.
So he's an arsonist?
Mm-hmm. And a pyromaniac.
Yeah. What else did he do?
So he has a jetpack that, he flies around with a flamethrower. There's not too much to Garfield Lyons.
His name is Garfield.
His name is Garfield. F. Okay. All right. Moving on. This character, bit of a creep. It's the Mad Hatter. What do you know about the Mad Hatter?
I do know the Mad Hatter.
Okay.
What's his power? He can eat people.
So Mad Hatter has he is basically a master of brainwashing technology, and he hides the devices inside of hats, typically. Obsessed with Alice in Wonderland, and depending on who's writing, a bit of a pedophile.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. John and I talked about that a little bit when we were talking about Mad Hatter as well. Yeah. Mad Hatter is obsessed with blondes that he refers to as his Alice. And again, depending on who's writing, sometimes the blonde is just a young woman, and sometimes it's a child.
I'm great because I have brown hair, so I'm good.
There you go. You do not have to worry about the Mad Hatter unless he's secretly hidden one of his microchips inside of your hat. I think you're good.
But you don't know.
You don't know.
You're wearing a hat.
I'm always wearing a hat. It's my secret.
So he could be in you.
That's my secret.
So you're the Mad Hatter.
No.
Good. Make that distinction. Make that distinction where you're like, I'm not that guy.
Yeah. And because you enjoyed Firefly's first name, Mad Hatter's name is Jervis Tetch. I'm
gonna say this about a lot of DC characters. As we already covered, but Ra's al Ghul, they have stupid names.
So yes, where would you put the Mad Hatter?
Who's gonna put a pedophile really high up on the list?
I mean, if you're talking about he's a bad villain because he's a disgusting pervert,
right?
He might be S tier in that case.
But does that make you a bad? I mean, it makes you a bad villain, and that it makes you not a good villain.
True.
Right?
True. I mean, it's your list at the end of the day.
F tier. Fuck him.
F tier. All right.
Yeah. Right. Don't fuck him.
Do not fuck this man. Next up is a villain I'm not sure you may or may not be familiar with. It's Hush. Are you familiar with Hush?
Kind of.
Okay.
The bandages?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Hush his name is Thomas Elliot. He is an old friend of Bruce Wayne's from when they were children.
Normal name.
Thomas Elliot. Here you go. We're off to a good start. He's a more recent created character from the early 2000s.
Damn it.
So Hush basically became obsessed with the Wayne family with bitterness and jealousy. His family were not nearly as wealthy. He tried to murder his family by sabotaging their car when he was a child so he could get the money for it. Later on becomes a brilliant surgeon and basically begins to plague Bruce Wayne's life trying to steal it from him. So master manipulator, pretty good expert fucking with somebody psychologically.
I see a lot of myself in this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, is this a thing as well? What I was saying about Bane, like he was a big deal when he came in. The people he made him like wrote him really well, but after that he kind of like fell off the radar a bit. Is that pretty similar with Hush?
He fell off the radar because not many people used him that often.
Yeah, they didn't.
So
know
they didn't really know what to do with him. So there is the next upcoming Batman run that's starting, I think probably maybe this month, is it's a storyline that's being just referred to as Hush 2. And it is Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee coming back to basically write a sequel to their story the first time. So Hush is making a comeback on this one. The only other time that Hush got used pretty prominently that I'm aware of was in the DC Comics time period where Batman was thought to be dead. Because he had used plastic surgery to make himself look like Bruce Wayne, he basically was kept under house arrest by like Nightwing and the others, so that basically the world could still think that Bruce Wayne was still alive. But so Thomas Elliot kind of got what he wanted. He was denied freedom, but he got to have all of the money and power that came along with being Bruce Wayne.
I'm torn.
So okay.
See, I've heard of him.
Yes.
And if I've heard of him, that's usually a pretty good
sign.
Yeah, because I knew the bandages. I knew I knew that about him. So I wanted to say B, but I feel like because like you said, his more recent thing is gonna be called like Hush 2. And like that's bad. You've only had 2 big storylines, dude, and the second one hasn't come out yet. Like that's
Oh, it's a really big storyline, but yeah, I don't think a lot of people have really. I think they've been just too timid to try anything with Hush.
I want to say B, but I'm tempted to just put him in C because like he's got potential, but he's not there yet. You know what I mean? So let's say
or C.
I think C is appropriate because he could be a big deal, but he's not a big deal.
Okay.
I think he's like a guy that you like eventually you can strap a rocket to and like make him a big deal, but he's not a big deal at the moment, and he could be. And they should have. I think they should have made him a big deal. Like they had the chance to make him a big deal, they didn't. That's their fault. So he's C at the moment.
All right, so we are at the halfway point of the list. And to do just a bit of a recap in case you want to make any changes, like I said, you can make any changes you want at any time. So right now at F tier, we have Firefly and the Mad Hatter.
Correct.
At D tier, we have Killer Moth and Deadshot.
Yes.
At C tier, we have Man-Bat, Deathstroke the Terminator, and Hush.
Yes.
At B tier, we have Killer Croc and the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And A tier, we have Ra's al Ghul, Bane, and Catwoman.
I think that's a pretty accurate list.
All right. That's the case. We'll keep pushing forward. Next up is our second of the 3 that are a little iffy because she's more known as an anti-hero now than not, Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie.
Yep.
Tara Strong, I think, did a voice. Somebody else.
I think she voices her in the Harley Quinn animated show that's on HBO Max currently.
Oh, I don't think Tara Strong does. I think that was Kaylee Kuko.
Oh, fair enough.
I think.
Yeah, Tara Strong has done her before then.
Tara Strong, I think, did the video games. I think she did like Asylum or something. But there was somebody before her that did the TV show. That wasn't Tara Strong. I don't remember who that was. But I know Tara Strong's definitely done Harley Quinn at some point.
It was Arlene Sorkin was the original. Right.
That makes sense. Fair enough. Very popular character. I would say more than Catwoman that Harley Quinn errs on the side of villain. Like I could see, obviously I haven't been reading the comics recently, but I could see that like if you were to say Harley Quinn was more of a villain than Catwoman, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I could see that. I dig that. She's easier to turn.
Yeah.
I think. And she's a big name. Like Margot Robbie, I think, did a big number for Harley Quinn. You know,
Yeah.
like there was like 3 years in a row where every time you went to a Comic-Con, every woman was dressed like Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
That happened like for a long time. I'm like, there's other characters, dude. Other people have baseball bats. Come on, man. You know. But she was a very, very popular. I'm gonna put her with Catwoman. I want to say A tier.
Okay.
I was
fair.
close to saying B tier, but I'm like, you know what? Because she's so popular, as a villain, I guess same with Catwoman. As a villain, no, but as a character, yeah, everybody knows Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
All right. Next up, man with no introduction needed. It's the Joker.
Oh, F next.
F tier it is.
Put him in.
All right. Next up. Do we want to?
You think there's more to it? He's an F tier.
I mean, if you want to leave him an F tier, we'll leave him an F tier. We'll move on.
The thing, right? I have to.
Okay.
We have to talk with this. I don't want to.
We do.
I hate the Joker as a character.
Okay.
I don't like him. I think he's really inconsistent. I think that people don't know how to write him.
Yes.
He's just a crazy clown. And I think that a lot of people back in the day used to just bank on him being a crazy clown as a character trait, which isn't good. And then B, now people do the Heath Ledger Joker thing where he's just this psychotic, like unpredictable, crazy, like 7 steps ahead of everybody, madman, which he isn't. He's a fucking clown, right? I really don't like the Joker. I just not like. I'm not. But obviously, I'm not going to put him in F tier, right? I can't put him in F tier. I just wanted to let people know I don't like the Joker as a character. I think he's just not fun. Like I thought that Heath Ledger's Joker was great. I thought that Jack Nicholson's Joker was great. Like that's all great, right? But as a villain, I think that people they've idolized him too much. They've put him on a pedestal too much. They've ruined that character. He's not fun. He's supposed to be fun. He's not. He's just this really weird, grotesque, horrible guy that always ends up getting away with everything. And he's just a regular man wearing a fucking clown makeup. And they're like, how does this guy like always end up on top? Hi. When Batman, supposedly the world's greatest detective, always ends up putting him in jail, always catches him, always spoils his problem. How does the Joker always come out unscathed? What is it about one character out of all the other fucking characters? This fucking clown. Why is it him that's always the one that's the winner? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't like him. And part of that might be because he's a clown and they're supposed to be unlikable. I don't buy that. I know I'm supposed to put him in F tier. This is a thing, right? People are gonna yell at me if I don't put the Joker in S tier, aren't they?
It's your call.
Right. Well, then fuck him. F tier. Joker's in F tier.
Joker's an F tier. John, I think John will have fun with that. I think
John is suck my dick. But you know what I mean, though. Listen, if we're being like you know, some of the rules have applied to some of these other guys. If you're talking about upper mid carders, yada yada yada, Joker is S tier, right? If we're being fair, Joker, what's the best wrestling equivalent I could do? Let's say Joker is like Hulk Hogan because everybody knows him. He's always on TV. He's always popular. But also, when you look at them under like surface level, can't wrestle for shit, and you hate him. You're just sick of seeing him.
Yes.
So like in a way, Hulk Hogan, you know, in that terms, Hulk Hogan's the most popular wrestler of all time. But also, he's dog shit. Nobody likes him. Right? So if that's the parameters we're going with, then yes, Joker is an S tier. So let's put him in S tier, but let's bracket it and say Hulk Hogan.
Okay,
right?
We'll put him in S tier. Bracket Hulk Hogan.
Joker, but you have to write Hulk Hogan after that, okay? And we all know what that means. We all know what that means. So yes, he is an S tier, but also he's Hulk Hogan. So wrestling fans who go to a show and they see Hulk Hogan, yes, he's the most popular wrestler of all time. but also he's still Hulk Hogan. So
There you go.
Deal with that he makes children cry just by promoting his beer. Is that what you want as your figurehead? Is that what you want, an S tier? I think that kind of behavior is reprehensible. I would put it in F tier. But everybody else, yeah, blah, 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 S tier, whatever. Also, bracket that as well. Joker, brackets, Hulk Hogan, close brackets, open brackets. Dylan really wants him in F tier, close brackets.
There you go.
Put them in both, right?
All right.
I'll put them in both. I'll put them at the top and the bottom. Fuck the Joker.
There you go.
Next.
All right, next. We have a character that I don't know if you would have ever heard of, Hugo Strange.
I have heard of him.
Okay, cool. What do you know about Hugo Strange?
I don't know on the bottom.
So Hugo Strange is effectively a brilliant psychiatrist that becomes obsessed with Bruce Wayne's mind after learning that he's Batman, and basically keeps putting him through a psychological ringer to basically see, like, what is it that makes this guy want to do this particular thing. He has gone so far as to fake his death and make Batman, believe that he was responsible for the death. And like, that was a long con that ran for a long time, of the ghost of Hugo Strange haunting Bruce Wayne. So yeah, basically brilliant psychiatrist that is mentally fucks with Bruce Wayne harder than most people would ever try.
Except for a clown.
Except for a clown.
That's apt here. How did he find out who Bruce Wayne is?
Basically, he analyzed Batman's gadgets and projectiles. Apparently, he also figured out that, like, the subtle references to the Wayne Tech logo that was hidden in some of Bruce's gadgets, and created a psychological profile of a likely candidate of who Batman would be. And yeah, basically deduction. He's like, to be Batman, you need to have a lot of fucking money in order to build all this shit. And somebody who had traumatic childhood, well, here's Bruce Wayne, who watched his parents die in front of him when he was a child and has a lot of fucking money. He's probably Batman.
That sounds like total bullshit. So I'm going to say D.
D, okay.
Yep. I was going to put him in C tier, but I'm like, I don't think he's better than Hush.
No, I don't think he would be.
I don't think he's
next up.
Hush, Yeah,
next up, I think the most recent addition to the Batman Rogues gallery in recent years, and definitely the one getting the most play, is the Court of Owls, specifically Talon, who is one of their assassins.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Are you putting Talon in or the whole court?
I'm going to do the whole Court of Owls because it like the picture is focused on Talon, but it is obviously there's more than one Talon. Talons are basically their assassins.
I hear that they've been a big deal like the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, about the last 13-ish years since the New 52 launch. They were the Batman storyline that launched the New 52.
Yeah, they've been. It was
Scott Snyder's jump to Batman from independent horror comics.
Oh, is Scott Snyder better with comics than Zack Snyder?
Boy, I have my opinions on Scott Snyder. I think Scott Snyder has a lot of brilliant ideas. I think he just doesn't know how to finish the story. Because I personally, I'm of the opinion that the Court of Owls ended really weak. And I read one of his horror comics that he wrote through Dark Horse Comics called Canary. Brilliant setup, a lot of really creepy, spooky stuff going on. Ending was flat. Same thing, he had another independent comic book through, I think it was Image Comics, called Severed. That was kind of the same deal. Really creepy, really atmospheric, good build-up, and then it ended. And you're like, oh, okay, well, it's over.
Okay, so they've been fucking with Batman then.
Yeah, so the Court of Owls are basically a secret organization that is Gotham City's elite. They all hide behind anonymity, and basically they've been the movers and shakers behind Gotham for centuries. And Batman, it was sort of like a moment of Batman's hubris where he thought he knew Gotham in and out until he started seeing signs that he did not. One of the big ones being that Penguin was terrified of the Court of Owls because Penguin is old money, and his family would have been associated with them. And he basically got disowned by the Court of Owls because of his activities as Penguin, with an agreement of, I'm not going to fuck with you, you don't fuck with me.
Also because owls eat penguins.
Yep. Owls eat penguins.
Yep.
Yep. Simple as that.
Happy enough with that? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll move on. To me, they seem like I've heard of them because they seem like, if you're listening to like recent Batman stuff, like I said, last 10-ish years, they seem to come up a lot. I'm gonna say B tier just because I feel like they're like a big recent kind of big bad that are still relevant, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna write Court of Owls.
Okay.
I mean Talon as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Talons are basically, they are, you know how Winter Soldier, when they would just thaw him out to do a job and then freeze him again?
Sure.
That is what the Talons are. The Talons are essentially like undead bodies that they thaw out, reanimate to do a job, and then put back under ice when they're done with them.
Okay. Good.
So next up, we just mentioned it by name. It's the Penguin.
Oh, S tier. Stop even fucking around, dude.
Okay.
He's the best.
I love Penguin.
Yeah. Danny DeVito. Best Penguin.
There you go.
Hello, Colin Farrell, another Irish boy. Very good Penguin.
A lot of Irishmen in the Batman Rogues gallery, I've noticed.
Yeah, Irish people are villains.
Great villains. Great villains.
It's so good, man. They're great villains. I love the Penguin. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. You know, I think he's so comic booky. There's so much about him that, like, I don't know how you couldn't like that guy. I mean, obviously he did a lot of villainous stuff, so you wouldn't like him for that. But you know what I mean? Like, he's always been one of the big. I would say there's what 4 or 5 like big Batman villains.
Big Batman names.
Penguin was always in that list.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put Penguin S tier. We can talk about how great the Penguin is if you want. You probably want to start this show at some point, so we'll keep going.
No, it's your call. It's your call. You want to say anything you want to say about Penguin? Floor is yours.
I fucking love the Penguin. We've talked about Danny DeVito as a Penguin.
Yes.
Wait. Yeah, we did. That one didn't get. I was like, which Batman episode got scrapped?
It was the Nolan ones that got fucked.
Right. So the good one where we got to talk about how good Danny DeVito is as a Penguin existed. I love that. I love Danny DeVito. I love the Penguin. I think he's just a great character overall. It's a lot of fun, very recognizable, like very distinct. There's a lot you can love about the Penguin. Just such a great character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also love the idea of a penguin versus a bat. Beautiful stuff.
So up next, Poison Ivy.
Ooh. You know what I want to do, right? Just because Catwoman and Harley Quinn are in A tier, I feel like Poison Ivy, pretty similar deal. I see them all at the same level.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I like Poison Ivy. Uma Thurman.
Yeah. So you see her as an A tier as well.
I would put Poison Ivy in A tier. Yeah. I think, like I said, there's like a handful of like bam bam, you know, those Batman villains. Poison Ivy is like on the cusp. Like she's like flip flopping, like she could be like any day now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would put her like A tier, but like on the cusp, like Catwoman. On the cusp.
She has got a power upgrade now, and she's pretty much on the same tier as Swamp Thing when it comes to her power over nature.
She eats that bug guy?
Probably.
What was his name?
Weed Whacker?
Was it Weed Whacker?
It was like Weed Whacker, I think.
Weird.
Weed Killer. Yeah. It was something like that.
Weed Killer. Yeah, it was probably Weed Killer.
All right. Well,
that was for us.
It was pretty bad for us.
So you know.
So next up is a Grant Morrison creation. I don't know because he is so recent. I'm not sure how familiar you are with him. Are you familiar with Professor Pig?
Yes, I am.
Oh, perfect.
Because he is a Grant Morrison character.
Yeah. Yes.
I like him.
Okay.
I do. But I feel like because he's kind of new and I don't know how well they followed up with him, I don't think I can put him any higher than B, realistically.
Okay.
Like, again,
Sure.
our bias is coming in here. We love a bit of Grant Morrison. And I think he's
I
a
do.
fun character. I think he's better than Man-Bat, right? I
He's
think,
very disturbing.
yeah, but in a better way than the Mad Hatter is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, more fun to read than just a weird, creepy pedophile. That's not fun to read. You imagine? So I
Yeah.
think I would say again, like B, C, like cusp. I would say, yeah, like lower B tier. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I would say, yeah, I like him. I think he's again another interesting character that again I think they haven't really followed up on, because that happens a lot with like new characters when they introduce them. Sometimes it's hard to follow up on those characters and like keep building them up. I feel like Professor Pig's one of those guys that has loads of potential, but people just aren't writing him because they're like,
Yeah.
well, Morrison did a great job. What else do we do?
He
But
was a featured villain, and there was a an animated show that was only on for one season called Beware the Batman, and I think he was one of the main villains in Beware the Batman.
that's good. He deserves it. You know,
Yeah.
just an interesting character. So yeah, I would say B tier.
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
Next up is the ventriloquist.
Oh
How familiar
fuck.
you are with the ventriloquist in Scarface?
I I mean, we're probably talking about F tier, but like indulge me a little bit.
Sure. So ventriloquist is a schizophrenic man who believes that his wooden puppet is a mob boss, and more specifically that he is terrified of and intimidated of this ventriloquist puppet.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period of time where the original ventriloquist died, and there was a new ventriloquist that was a smoking hot blonde lady that was the puppeteer of Scarface. But that did not that is not the case any longer. It is back to being the old man.
That's a shame. They could have got an extra point.
Could have got an extra point. So ventriloquist going on F tier for you then?
Seems like it, doesn't it?
Is he on the same tier as Firefly and the Mad Hatter?
And the Joker.
And the Joker.
I have the Joker in both tiers,
Yes.
top and bottom. And I will fight people about this.
Okay.
Ventriloquist, though, I'm not going to fight them. He, like, who gives a shit, right?
Okay.
Here's the thing,
So
right? Here's the thing. If the ventriloquist wasn't in Batman,
yeah,
would you notice?
Absolutely not.
Bingo, F tier.
He had some good episodes in the animated series, but that's about as far as I would take it.
Right, so that gives him a couple of extra points, but like not enough to get him up to D tier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So next up is our third of the kind of iffy ones. This is the second Robin, Jason Todd, under the moniker the Red Hood. Because when they brought him back, originally he was more of a villain that they have transitioned over into more heroic role since the New 52. But pre Flashpoint, Red Hood was considered more of a villain than anything.
Flash, it's everywhere.
Flashpoint, man, get you every time.
Oh, that fucking Flash! This is why I don't like talking about DC. That's Flash is everywhere. You know what I mean? This could have been the one episode. No more Flash. What a great time. No. Flashpoint. Blah 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 blah. You know. I have heard of this guy. Part of why I've heard of this guy is probably because you've talked about him.
Yeah, well, we had the Robin episode where we talked about the various Robins.
Yes, we've talked about the Robins a lot. I'm tempted to say like B or C tier.
Sure.
What has he done to Batman? Sidekick, you know.
Well, so I mean, he is responsible for a lot of Batman's guilt for a long period of time because he felt like he failed Jason. When Jason came back from the dead, one of the first things he did was basically go after Bruce for essentially like, wow, you know, I understand you never wanted to kill any of the villains, but you couldn't make an exception for Joker considering he killed me and I was your partner, aka your son.
by Joker's F tier.
Yeah. He got beat with a crowbar and then blown up in a building. That's how they killed Jason Todd.
Well, yeah.
But no, like really, like there was a lot of like fucking with him psychologically in that sense. Like he and Bruce never really came to blows for the most part. They've had a very tense relationship at times. Even now with Jason in more of the heroic role, Bruce is always very conscious of the fact that Jason has no problem with killing criminals. So Jason Todd is an equivalent to Punisher to a degree. Like he is the guy that's like, listen, sometimes some people just don't need to be alive anymore.
I agree.
But yeah, no, he's much more on the side of angels now than he was originally.
I'm torn.
Okay.
Once again, I'm torn with a B and a C. Do you know?
Sure.
I feel like what he did to Batman psychologically, sure, but like when it came to like actually fighting Batman, not a whole lot of stuff went on.
Yeah, because it's one of those Batman doesn't really like to fight him, doesn't want to fight him. Because that's still his kid.
Often. So again, if we're talking about like a pro wrestling scenario, Batman has issue with this guy but doesn't fight him that often, then you're like, well, why would we get invested in that guy? Because there's no payoff to the fight. There's no reason to watch.
And I think that's probably why they've moved beyond Jason Todd being a villain. He was a villain for the Grant Morrison Batman run where Dick Grayson was Batman. But then that was more of an obvious conflict because you have two of Bruce's sons in Bruce's absence. You have his first son, the prodigal son, Nightwing, taking his father's place as Batman. And then you have his second son, Jason Todd, who is the black sheep of the family, taking on the villainous role of the Red Hood and clashing.
You know what? I'm going to say C tier.
See? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have one of the oldest characters on the list. He is an undead revenant that whenever he does die and comes back, he comes back a little bit different every single time. It's Solomon Grundy.
Okay. What are his parts?
So Solomon Grundy is undead for all intents and purposes. He is a giant hulking zombie. So super strength, super durability. When he does die, he pulls himself back out of Slaughter Swamp, which is where his body was originally laid to rest. And he will come back different. Sometimes he's come back smaller. Sometimes he's come back even bigger or stronger. One time he came back with a genius-level intellect and nearly killed the Justice League.
Wow.
But for the most part, Solomon Grundy is sort of a kind of used more often not than as an obstacle, like a thug almost. In the Arkham City game, when you're going to go confront the Penguin, you have a mini-boss battle against the resurrected Solomon Grundy that Penguin had been keeping hidden, frozen in ice underneath the Iceberg Lounge.
Okay. I feel like I've heard of this guy, but he's a little bit like Hugo Strange, and that I've heard of him, but I don't know what he does. So I'm like on the cusp of like C and D tier, but because I equated him to Hugo Strange, I feel like D tier is probably the area for him, right? Like he's close to C, but like I would put him, on D tier.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
All right, next up, we have the Riddler.
Can I change something?
Yeah, go ahead, change.
Can I put Killer Moth down one?
Put him to F tier? Sure.
Well, I have an E tier.
I do not have an E tier, unfortunately. It's not an option for me.
Put this caveat in here. I want Killer Moth in E tier.
I will put him at the top of F tier. That's the best I can do.
Whenever we're doing the next episode with John, let it be known that Killer Moth is actually an E tier.
Okay.
Not an F tier.
Okay. All right. So next up, we have the Riddler.
I like the Riddler. I really do. I think he's one of those, I said there was like a handful of like popular, these are the villain from Batman. Yeah. The Riddler is like right up there.
Okay.
I think part of that is like the Adam West Batman show.
Yeah, Frank portion playing Riddler.
A lot of those really popular recurring villains were ingrained in people's minds, and those are the ones that like people remember. And I know that like later on, the Riddler has had a lot of like really good success stories. Obviously, Jim Carrey played him in a role that I don't hate.
Yeah,
we talked about this.
I watched it in a movie theater very recently, and I will tell you, Jim Carrey as Riddler is way better than I remembered him being.
Fun. It's fun to watch.
Exactly.
It's so much fun. I watched that whenever I got COVID a few weeks ago. I watched that and the Batman Returns. I don't know why. I had a fever and I was like, I have to watch Batman.
Gotta watch some 90s Batman.
And I watched Batman Returns because I love Batman Returns. And then I was like, well, let me just watch this Jim Carrey one to see if it's good. It's still good. I mean, as a film, it's kind of all over the place. But Jim Carrey is a great Riddler. It's a very different, interesting Riddler that I like. And Paul Dano was
great in the Batman.
I haven't seen that film, but I know Paul Dano was the Riddler, and I loved the idea they did with him, the way that they played that Riddler as a new character. Like, that's great. I think that's a lot of fun. I would put Riddler in S tier.
Okay,
I'm gonna say that I love the Riddler. Yeah, I think but also what's really important is that he's a fun Batman villain.
Yes.
Like, he is a Batman villain. Batman's a detective. The Riddler sends riddles to Batman for him to decipher and decode. That's fun. You
would really like the Batman movie then, because there's a lot of detective work of like Batman trying to figure out what these clues are and figure out the puzzles. There's a lot of that, so I think you would enjoy it.
I haven't seen it, but I like the idea of like him being like the Zodiac killer and then Batman being the one guy. Like that's great. That's such an obvious.
Yeah, you would really enjoy it. So that is my recommendation for you, is to watch that, because it is the most detective Batman movie they've put out yet.
That was the Robert Pattinson one, right?
Robert Pattinson, yep.
What's really funny is that like for years I'm like, oh, he's just a fucking
vampire guy.
But then I saw a film called Mickey 17 recently with him in it.
I've been wanting to see that. Is it good?
Dude, see that film. Okay. That film made me go.
Do that tomorrow then.
He can act. That was he was so good in that film. So good. Like, I love that's the best one I've seen all year. Watch that film, dude. It's really, really good. It'll twist and turn you in ways you didn't expect it.
Nice.
Really like that film. So now I'm like second guessing like him as Batman, because I always thought that like that guy's Batman. Like,
he plays a young Batman. Like, that's the thing, is this is Bruce Wayne. He's only been Batman for a year now. It's good though.
Yeah. Well, that's why
there's no origin movie aspect of it, so there's no like watching the family get gunned down again shit.
Straight in. He's very good. I gotta say, man, after that film, I'm like, I've changed my mind about that guy. He's a very good actor.
You would really like the Batman then, because again, Zoe Kravitz is a great Catwoman too.
Wow.
And your boy Colin is the Penguin, and it's got John Turturro. Come on, who doesn't love John Turturro?
A lot going on.
Going on. It's a good movie.
We see my boy. He's in the Penguin in that film.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I knew he's in the show. I didn't know there was.
Yeah. The show takes place after the movie.
Okay. Is he
so like at this point? Yeah, at this point, Penguin is like a lower level member of the Falcone crime family. So the show is about him rising up the ranks.
Yeah, but like he doesn't have the makeup on, does he?
Oh yeah, he does. Got the whole thing.
Maybe I will watch that show.
Yeah, you should. It's good. It's real good. To get back to our list though, real quick.
No, let's keep talking about Penguin.
Keep talking about Penguin. Next up, we have Two-Face, who was the other villain in Batman Forever.
Correct. Two-Face is another one that I think is very recognizable as a Batman villain.
Okay.
Two-Face, like, again, the duality of man, that coin flip, literally, between good and evil, whereas Batman is supposedly on the side of good. The idea of Two-Face is to draw out the fact that Batman is like a sliver away from being a bad person. Like he's a vigilante. He's going out there punching people in the face. He can say he's a detective and he's pretending that they're good or bad, but he doesn't know they're good or bad.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like some of them are fucking bad, right? The Joker's bad. Fair, right?
We know this.
F tier. but I mean, like the idea of like what Batman does is crazy, and Two-Face is kind of that moral ass, like, are you crazy? Are you more like us than you think you are? That's something I don't think they always play up a lot, but I think that's an angle that's always there with Two-Face. It's that duality of man kind of thing that I think works very well with Batman. I'm gonna say Two-Face is S tier.
Okay.
Like 100%. I think he's one of those big classic. You know what I mean? If you think of big classic Batman characters, Two-Face, Riddler, Penguin, I suppose the Joker.
Yeah, he's there.
I have to say the Joker, but you know what I mean.
Contractually, you have to say the Joker.
Yes.
Yes.
Let it be known that I don't want to have to say it, but I have to say it.
You have to say it. So next up, we have a character who these next two I don't know if you would know them or not. This one is Black Mask. Are you familiar with Black Mask?
The name sounds familiar.
Okay. So Black Mask is the head of a crime family. He's obsessed with masks, as the saying goes. He is disfigured underneath he wears. His kind of gimmick, though, is more so about torture. Remember we talked about when we had the Robins episode, there was the Stephanie Brown, who was the fourth Robin, and how she died in action. Black Mask was the guy who did that job. Okay. He basically captured her and tortured her to death with a power drill. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a sociopath for sure.
Bad boy.
Yep, for sure. Bit of a sociopath. Your Irish connection's gonna actually no. Oh boy, I think I'm wrong on this. I'm gonna take that back.
Nope, say it.
Ewan McGregor.
Yes.
Irish. Okay, I thought he was Scottish. Like the second it came out, I always thought Scottish. I'm like, wait.
Fuck, is Ewan McGregor one of us?
Let's take a look. I'll look it up real quick. Ewan McGregor is Scottish. No, he is Scottish.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Yes.
Right? This is a true story. If you live in Northern Ireland, it's a very small country. And obviously, if you go to the bottom of Northern Ireland, everybody sounds like they're from the south of Ireland. They sound very Irish. But if you go to the north of Ireland, everybody sounds very Scottish. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how this happened. You know what I mean? Like the closer we get to that country, the more we start. Even with the Scotland one, we're across the pond. If you go north in Northern Ireland, they all sound very Scottish. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to use that as my excuse as to why I made.
You're going to claim ownership. That's fine.
Also, Ewan McGregor, it could go either way.
McGregor, yes. That's why I was thinking. Like, the second I was like, wait, McGregor though could go either way.
That could be Irish, could be Scottish. It's definitely not English. Fuck that. But you know what I mean? Very, pretty close. The thing about Ireland is, and Scotland, we have a very close connection. So we're basically the same country.
Yeah, you're like cousins.
Very close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor. Who are we talking about? Oh, Black Mask. Right?
Yes, Ewan McGregor played the Black Mask character in a movie that most people forgot existed called Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Okay.
So he was the big bad in that as Roman Sionis, who is Black Mask's alter ego.
Okay.
So
what do you think about what's the biggest thing the Black Mask has done? What do you think?
I mean, definitely taking advantage of the War Games storyline to kill Stephanie Brown. That's up there.
Who's Stephanie Brown?
Usually, she's the fourth Robin.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. Aside from that, usually a thorn in the side of Catwoman more often than not. He's more of a crime family guy, more of a mob guy. The Mask is just a mask. He doesn't have like superpowers. He's not like super gimmicky for the most part. Crime boss with a mask.
All right, I don't know dick about this guy, Black Mask. Let's just put him in D tier.
D? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and
but he's not like Red Hood.
Yeah. Fun fact: Red Hood almost killed him.
Almost. Red Hood fucking kill this cunt. Come on, don't make me put you down a tier.
So our last person on the list, and then we'll do a recap, see if there's any changes you want to make, is a character who's a serial killer by the name of Mr. Zsasz. Are you familiar with Mr. Zsasz? So Zsasz is a serial killer, and his gimmick is that once he kills someone, he carves a tally mark into his body. So he is quite literally covered in tally mark scars. But he's a serial killer with a knife. He's very creepy, little unsettling, like a good serial killer should be. But there's nothing supernatural about him.
That doesn't matter. What matters is what impact has he had on Batman comics?
Mr. Zsasz. Let me see. I know that he is like your first mini boss in the Arkham Asylum game.
That sounds like he's pretty low down the list.
Yeah, villain, psychopathic serial killer, first appeared in Batman Shadow of the Bat #1. Sadomasochistic hitman. I think he had a cameo in Dark Knight. I think you see like somebody like in one of the prison ships with like the tally mark scars, but that's about it.
Dude.
I mean, he's a serial killer. He stalks people and murders them.
But what? So how many times has Batman fought him?
Several. He's if you're gonna use him, he's around.
It doesn't sound like a big deal. He really doesn't.
You know? No, not really. I mean, I'll be honest with you, he's not really.
I'm gonna say D tier.
That's fair.
What's his name?
Mr. Zsasz. Last name is spelled Z or Z S A S Z.
That's a shitty. You know what? Fuck that. F tier.
F tier. Okay.
F tier.
F tier.
His name. F tier.
Yeah, you're never gonna see him in an animated show for sure, because that's his whole gimmick is slitting throats. All right, so Dylan.
Carnage's own thing was he was a serial killer, and he was in like a load of the Spider-Man episodes. So this guy sucks.
Because I think aesthetically you could do a lot with a red Venom. Essentially, this is just a dude who's covered in self-mutilation scars.
Right, fucking nothing going for him. He sucks ass, man.
So, again, I think a weakness of this particular tier list that we're using is that Mr. Freeze is not here. We will save that.
Well, I was gonna say, can we put a caveat where we could just put Mr. Freeze on the list anyway?
Well, I was gonna say that we'll save that for the next episode when we're comparing our lists, because I don't think John realized that Mr. Freeze wasn't on there, so I don't know where John would put Freeze. So I think we'll save that for when we're all together.
I'm gonna say I know exactly where I would put Mr. Freeze, and I'm gonna put him on my list.
Okay, cool.
Okay, he's on my list. I know where I put him.
I mentally have him on my list too.
Cool.
So, as a quick recap, Dylan, on F tier, you have Killer Moth, Firefly, Mad Hatter, the Ventriloquist.
Well, technically, yes, but he's on E tier.
Yes. Killer Moth is on E tier. But it's top of F tier on mine. Firefly, Mad Hatter, Ventriloquist, Mr. Zsasz, parentheses, the Joker.
Yes.
There you go. D tier, you have Deadshot, Hugo Strange, Solomon Grundy, Black Mask.
Yes.
C tier, Man-Bat, Deathstroke the Terminator, Hush, and Jason Todd.
Yes.
B tier, Killer Croc, Scarecrow, the Court of Owls / Talon, Professor Pig.
Yes.
A tier, Ra's al Ghul, Bane, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy.
Yes.
And S tier, you have Joker, parentheses, Hulk Hogan, the Penguin, the Riddler, and Two-Face.
Correct.
All right, perfect.
That's hard to beat.
Now, is there anything that you want to make changes to this list?
I'm tempted to put Man-Bat down to D because
Okay.
I don't know if he's as good as like Deathstroke or Hush.
Okay.
Should we do that?
It's your list, you tell me.
Who gives a shit about Man-Bat? Yeah, stick him in D.
All right, we'll move him down to D tier.
Okay.
Okay. Any other changes you'd like to make?
No.
All right,
Perfect.
cool.
I mean, obviously the big change I want to do is the Joker, but I can't do that because people are gonna fuck.
It would cause an outrage.
Fuck him. You know I'm right. Not about maybe not about
All
F,
right.
maybe not about F tier, but you know I'm right about the Joker.
Joker is somebody they need to practice more restraint with for sure. He needs to be in that hush area of like only write the Joker if you got a really good story in mind.
Right. They have that problem where they're like, we have to write the Joker. I'm like, no, you don't. Then he becomes Hulk Hogan. And he's always on TV. I'm like, I'm fed up with this cunt. And you're not doing a good story. He's just always there. And he's just like, I'm the Joker. That's not fun. You're not doing it well.
Yeah.
That's why in the first, if we're talking about the Nolan Batmans, which I guess we should talk about really quick right now. First film they did, Joker wasn't in it. They don't need the Joker. Yep. They don't need him. Batman's a good character without the Joker. Then when they did put the Joker in, they put him in because that's when they needed him. They didn't need him in the third one. They had him perfectly. They don't need to keep fucking bringing that character back. Do it smart. It's just anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway. So, Dylan,
Yeah.
that's your list. I'm going to export that and send it over to you, even though you have been taking your own notes on that. Next week, when we're all back together, what I think we'll do is I'm going to create a brand new tier list, and we're going to have a three-way debate on, we'll go through each name on the list. We'll say where we have them ranked, and if we can dissuade the other person if we need to on where they are. Because I'll tell you, there's some differences between you and John already, I can see.
I know what one of them is.
But yeah, no, I think that would be fun for episode 3, but that'll be it for episode 2. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
I don't think so. I don't do anything anymore.
Okay,
Buy
fair
my
enough.
book, whatever.
Buy your book.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, I guess. Is it? Yeah, just buy my book. It's good.
Buy your book.
Is it good?
Is it by Shadow the Hedgehog?
If I'm Shadow the Hedgehog, then yes.
It is. But I only have my other podcast called Large Old Cup. It's also on Spotify, so by all means check that out if you can. But until next time, I think that's going to do it for us. Like I said, we'll come back together next week when all of us are together. We'll combine our tier list to make the official Smart Avengers Batman villain tier.
Yes.
Which I would love to do this with X-Men and other things. I think this worked out really well.
Just as fun.
Well, we'll see how it goes with the debate portion, because after the Marvel versus DC thing, God only knows what the fuck will happen.
Yeah, that'll be something.
All right. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Chef's kiss. Beautiful.